Welcome to the Charity Connector. Hosted by Dominic Fenton and produced by Grow Radio, we give you an insight into the hearts of charities making waves in our world.
Hi everyone, welcome back to the next episode of the Charity Connector, and I have another guest with me. Becky, how are you?
Hi Dominic, I'm fine, thank you. How are you?
Yeah, very good, thank you. Becky, for those who don't know you, why don't you just please introduce yourself and the organisation you're representing?
Okay, perfect. So I'm Becky. I'm the Communications and Outreach Officer for the charity MACS. MACS is a small national charity supporting children and adults born without eyes or underdeveloped eyes. So the conditions are Microphthalmia and Coloboma.
Right, okay. Whereabouts are you based?
I personally am based in Staffordshire, but our team is fully remote, so we're all over the UK.
Right, okay. Do you want to just go into a bit more detail about the organisation and obviously how you got involved and why you're involved with them, just so the listeners and the viewers can understand a bit more about what you do?
Okay. So basically, MACS the charity was started in 1993. Not only do I work for the charity, but I'm also a member. So I was born with microphthalmia and I was diagnosed, I think, in 1994. So I've been a part of this charity my entire life. I recently joined last year as the Communications and Outreach Officer. So it's really nice to give back to the charity that I've been a part of for a really long time. Obviously used the resources and been a beneficiary of the charity, but I've also raised money for the charity and now I get to work for them. So it's really nice.
Well, that's almost a whole circle, isn't it?
Yeah.
In terms of what you do.
Yeah, and I feel it kind of really helps motivate me as well. I'm really passionate about what I do and put great care and detail in because it's just so important for me.
So in terms of how the charity supports, so talk to me about what they do and how they support you.
So the charity is basically run by our members. Everything is run through our members. We take it into consideration everything that our members want. And one of our main goals as a charity is to help support the families, because when your child is born with these conditions, a lot of them are not known about. So it can take years to get diagnosed. And there's quite a lot of isolation for parents and things like that. So we have a big support group. We have support groups on Facebook and WhatsApp so families can connect and talk. But we also do stuff for our members. Every year we have a big family meetup where we all get together and celebrate and spend time together, do fun workshops and activities. And there's also trips that we go on. I feel like the charity goal is to help members feel give them how do I say this? It's like a taste of normality, so they can go. Some members have never been on trips before because it's just not accessible to them. So we'll help fund them going on a trip and things like that. Yeah.
So obviously a lot of it is support based in terms of helping members. How many members do you have?
Currently, I think the last time I checked was a couple of days ago. This includes family members as well, is just over 3,000.
Right, yeah. And they will be all over England, all over the UK.
Yeah, all over the UK and Northern Ireland. Yeah.
Okay. I must, because obviously unless you're involved in it or unless you have a child or an out that goes through this, it's probably not always in everyone's subconscious about what's out there and the conditions that people have to live with. So obviously I can imagine it being quite a vital service for those that, especially early diagnosis.
Yeah, I feel that's one of the things that we really thrive on, especially our member support team. As soon as we're contacted, as soon as they find us and we contact them, we trying to take them through this journey, and obviously at their own pace, because I feel like I can't even imagine how my parents felt when I was born and I had this undiagnosed condition, that the sort of isolation. So obviously going to take into consideration the parents feelings, but also inviting them to be a part of this charity, and we're here if we need, whenever they need us and stuff like that. I think for the start, for the early days, that's really important. And we have loads of really useful resources on our website about get like how to get prosthetics, and maybe things like starting school and technology that could really aid a lot of our members. Because obviously with these sort of eye conditions, a lot of them, well, how do I say it? They're all so different. Obviously I have microphthalmia in my right eye and I can't see at all, but people could have microphthalmia in both and can be completely blind and then need access to things like learning how to use and read braille and like the technologies that come with that, if that makes sense.
Yeah, no, completely. I think for myself, I understand a bit of it because of the work I do outside.
Yeah.
Because I work nationally as well and we work with lots of children and things like that. I get it. I do. And I think a big thing is what we notice, and I'm sure this will be the same for yourselves, is actually people need people.
Yeah.
And people need to feel part of a community who understand.
Yeah, and I feel like having that connection is really important. So obviously I've been a member of the charity my whole life, but I didn't always engage in like the charity activities and stuff. I was before quite a shy person and I would shy away, and my parents would be like, let's go to the meetups, and I didn't want to. But as an adult, I connected with it more and made some friends that also have the same condition as me. And when you first talk to someone that has had these exact same life experiences, it blew my mind. I was like, I felt the exact same way, and it was just so interesting, and I felt so seen, if that makes sense.
Yeah, no, and I think, and I think actually that's some of the perfect things for it, because actually, I suppose whether it's the child who's having to deal with this or an adult having to deal with it, whether it's the parents or family member, isolation could be quite a big thing.
Yeah.
And feeling like you don't know where to turn and that no one's either listening or who to reach out to is such a massive part. And obviously then naturally that affects people's mental health and everything else. So I can imagine actually the vital role you guys play.
Yeah, I just think it's really important, especially if someone needs to reach out, like we're always there and we'll try our best to accommodate and help. And if it's just someone they need to talk to, or if they want to connect with other members, we'll try and get them in contact with other members so they can have, like, they can meet people with their same condition and they can talk to them. And yeah, like, I feel like the important part here is the connection.
Yeah, no, I completely agree. So obviously 3,000 members at the moment.
Yeah.
Spread across the UK and Northern Ireland. Now, where you currently are, let's talk about the next maybe 2 years. Where do you see, or what's the hope in the next sort of 18 months, 2 years for where you want to be going as an organisation?
So our current goal is to grow our membership by 10% every year. So hopefully in the next 2 years, we'll see at least 600 new members. By new members, I don't necessarily mean like newborn babies with the conditions. I'm also talking about MACS adults that haven't been able to find a charity that's specifically for them, or just don't know, or have not been properly diagnosed and things like that. So yeah, that is our current objective.
Okay. And obviously, in terms of, I suppose, the 10%, would you also be looking at people who want to come and support the charity, maybe do fundraising? Would they be what you class as members, or are the members more at the sort of the service level?
Yeah, so I would say so people with MACS conditions, immediate family, they're like maybe their parents or their carers, but yeah, they're like immediate family, and then the person or people with the MACS conditions. And then for supporters, so a lot of our fundraising, about 40% of it is actually raised through London Marathon. So I feel like that's pretty cool. And then we have like lots of different supporters supporting lots of different things, depending on who they are and what their application for supporting us requires. Depends on the funds. Like, for example, some places will fund like a certain trip or a Big Macs meetup and things like that. So yeah.
Okay. And are you looking at, I suppose you're always looking at growing that anyway, aren't you?
Yeah, always. And we always have, people can always sign up for things like Tough Mudders and inflatable runs and stuff to raise money for us. They're always available on our website to just, yeah, you can just get in contact with the fundraising team. And yeah.
Okay. Okay. So in terms of, if you imagine now, I don't, we work with a lot of charities. So we understand, and obviously working for one, we understand the sector. We understand that actually funding's an issue for a lot of charities. What else is there that you could do support with, or something maybe outside the box? We know that funding's tight everywhere, but obviously, is there anything else where we can go, well, actually, this is what we need support with at the moment?
Where we always need support is more awareness raising. Obviously, like we spoke about, there's lots of people across the UK that have a MACS condition but are not part of the membership, or have never even heard of us, or struggle to get their diagnosis. And yeah, raising awareness is our number one, like I would say, struggle. Getting our stuff out there, like on our social media and things like that. We have posters in some hospitals, but a lot of hospitals you go to have never even heard of any of these conditions. I think when I was born, it took about 6 months and a lot of different hospital visits for my parents to finally get a diagnosis for me, because lots of people just never heard of these conditions.
It's quite sad that people haven't heard of them,
Yeah.
and actually probably would make such a difference at the beginning, certainly for parents not to have to go through that.
Yeah, of course. Like, I feel so the hospital I was born in, I think they told my parents to just leave the socket closed and not do anything about it. But obviously my parents fought and got me a prosthetic fitted, which is really important because your face kind of grows around your eyes, and obviously it's helped shape my life and my face. But yeah, so these things are actually like so important and can really change people's lives. And if they are like wrongly diagnosed, or haven't, if these doctors have never heard of it and they don't get diagnosed, how, like, they're not going to find us. And I feel like they're not going to get their community, their people, and it's really sad. And it's obviously, yeah, raising awareness is number one priority.
Right. Okay. If someone was listening to this right now, what one thing would you want them to do right this minute?
I would say go and follow our public Facebook account. It has all of the information that you would need for supporting MACS. It has member stories. It has ideas for fundraising. Everything is there, and there's a bunch of wonderful people and wonderful comments. You can read all about our members and all of the stuff that they do. But yeah, I would say definitely following our public Facebook account. Okay.
So in terms of how, to someone listening to this now or seeing the video and knowing your story, or touching a little bit on your story now, how has finding Mac affected your life and your parents' life? Because what I want to try and do is I want people to understand actually this is the impact it's had.
Yeah.
If you're prepared to say.
Yeah, no, of course. Just give me a second. Okay, how do I word this? So obviously MACS as a charity is important to a lot of people, but it's also really important to me, and especially my parents. Obviously, when I was born, they had no idea about my condition, and it took a really long time for them to get a diagnosis. And once they did, I can't remember who my mother said he was, but she said this guy at the hospital was like, check out this charity MACS, and it was just spoken word, and this is how she found this community, and I became a part of it, and like all of us as a family became a part of it. It was really comforting for my parents, because I can't even imagine how isolated they must have felt in those few months with not having a diagnosis, not knowing what was wrong, not knowing what my future could look like. So having a community behind them, I just think is so important. And obviously it's really important for me. I've been like a member of the charity obviously my entire life, and I remember as a child I would always get birthday cards from Max the monkey as well, who is our mascot, which was really lovely. I always loved that. and then obviously raising money as well for them, and now working with them. And I don't know, it's really important, and something I find really lovely as well, not only being a member but working for MACS as well. I get to talk to a lot more members than I did when I didn't work for MACS, and hearing other people's stories and talking to them is really nice too. We were recently at London Marathon, and I spoke to a lot of people, and they were telling me about their child's journey with MACS and stuff, and it was really nice, and it just made me feel like really part of something great.
And I think that's it. And I think part of me doing that, you've gone the whole journey with them, but almost from the beginning, you've gone that whole journey with them. And I think it's just really important for people to see or hear the impact it has.
Yeah.
You
It
know,
can really change lots of people's lives. Recently there was I think it was last year, there was an adults trip to Sicily, which was really lovely, and a lot of these adults with conditions have never traveled on their own before, so they get to experience these things, and I just think it's what it's all about.
yeah, and connection and support and being around other people who understand what you're going through, everything like that is for me fundamental in anything.
Yeah.
And actually it then obviously stops that isolation and feeling like no one understands. So
Yeah.
Becky, what I want to say is thank you for coming on.
You're very well. Thank you for having me.
No problem at all. If people want to get in touch, where's the best place for them to go to?
Okay, so we have a public Facebook page, so it's Microphthalmia and Coloboma support, all in caps MACS, and our Instagram is MACS Charity. But if you want to get in contact, inquiries@macs.org.uk is a great place to email. We're always hot on it on our emails. So yeah, if you get in contact with us, we'll be straight back to you.
Becky, thank you very much for your time. Keep up doing the amazing work you're doing. Good luck with everything.
Thank you.
Good luck with everything that's going on. And
thank you so much for having me.
No problem at all. Thanks everyone for tuning in. I'm your host, Don Fenton. This is the Charity Connector, and I'll see you again soon. Take care now. Bye-bye.